All right, everyone. So now that many participants are here and it is already 10 a.m., so I think it is time to start our session today. So good morning, everyone. My name is Yumna and I will be your moderator today. Thank you so much. We're all excited to hear from our speakers. So before we start, I would like to thank you again for taking the time to attend our webinar and we information. Today's webinar is a part of our series, Indonesia 5.0, Navigating Through Business Expansion, and we are going to discuss the Indonesian F&B industry and its trends, markets, and industry practices. So before we move on to our speakers, let's have a look at our agenda today. So first and foremost, we will hear opening remarks from our CEO, Pak BPOM Rahmantio. And after that, we will have the first presentation from Pak Bayu Isnawan, who is the Sales Director of PT UUC Dairy Indonesia. Following that, we will have a second presentation, which will be brought by Ibu Dina Bastaria, a Senior Business Consultant at Cekindo. Following the presentations, we also have a Q&A session scheduled, and that will be the last agenda for today's webinar. And please make sure to ask questions during the Q&A sessions, as you will have a chance to win exciting prizes from Cekindo. Now that we are familiar with today's agenda, I would like to introduce you all to Bapak BPOM Rahmantio, CEO at Cekindo, who will be delivering our opening remarks this morning. With more than 16 years of experience in business and financial consultation as well as management, BPOM was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of Cekindo Business International in January 2022. Here at Cekindo, BPOM is responsible for pitching strategic business plans, setting high-performance expectations, and overseeing wealth management. His experience and passion and financial management experience have led him to gain exhaustive know-how in corporate finance, financial performance strategy, business consultancy, business development, and corporate expansion. So welcome, Pak BPOM, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yumna. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third webinar in our series, Indonesia 5.0, Navigating Through Business Expansions. My name is Witvan Brahmantio, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of Cekindo Business International. So in today's webinar, it's called F&B, Food and Beverages Industry in Indonesia, Trends, Market and Practice, and we'll focus on the strategy of understanding the Indonesian F&B market and creating brand sustainability for new F&B products in the post-pandemic era. The food and beverage industry has been a very huge in Indonesia with many variants available in the market. The challenge is to gain sustainable growth in the industry. As we may aware, the Indonesia is the largest populations in the Southeast Asia with more than 270 million people. And most of us, just like me and my family, loves to eat a good food, a healthy food, and delicious food and beverage. If we talk about F&B, we must talk about one of the variants, it's snack. And if we talk about snack, we must talk about two cities in Indonesia as the Mecca of snack industry, Bandung and Malang. So this kind of knowledge make us better understand about Indonesian market, combining our knowledge, the trends, plus the right communication strategy is needed to ensure the target market recognize the products and the benefits that the public can obtain related with this food and beverage products. As we all know, the social media and digital marketing have become game-changing tools to ensure the brand campaign reach broad audience in terms of market and also end customers. Other than marketing strategies, F&B providers must register the products. They need to do the product registrations based on the guidelines that's set by the Indonesian government. to register food and beverage products, maybe if you are a foreigner, it's not easy to register that one because every entrepreneurs and business owner must follow the BPOM regulations. That sometimes if you don't understand the flow, it will be pretty much very difficult for you to register the product and start to selling your products in Indonesian market. So registering food and beverage products in Indonesia can be a hassle because the process usually takes a long time. You need to be patient. BPOM will truly check the products that include a variety of ingredients, nutritional claims, and labels before finally being able to share the products with the market. We also have like a halal certificate also that you can put it in your product, and then the customer will understand and realize that your product is halal certificate, have the halal certificate. Yeah. So in this webinar, we'll focus on sharing what should we be prepared for food and beverage products registrations and insights on keeping up with the trend to stay relevant while educating the market about the healthy food and beverage consumptions as part of the business strategy and development in Indonesia. So to give a valuable insight on these issues, first we have Pak Bayu Isnawan. Pak Bayu Isnawan, good morning Pak. Sales Director of PT Yoyik Dairy Indonesia, who will discuss the food and beverage market and trends in Indonesia. And then after that, we will have Dina Bastaria. Dina, good morning. Senior Business Consultant of Cekindo Business International.
Good morning, Pak.
Good morning, Dina. She will talk about BPOM, food and beverage registrations in Indonesia. So we love to make this webinar as relevant as possible for our participants. So please vote in the polls over the webinar and prepare the questions because we will have prizes for the 3 lucky participants who can win by asking a question during the Q&A session. So now let's pass it on our speakers. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful webinar sessions. Back to you, Yumna.
Thank you, Pak Fitvan, for the delightful opening remarks. As Pak Fitvan mentioned, I would also like to encourage you all to prepare questions for our speakers, as we will be giving 3 door prizes for participants who ask interesting questions. So please do not hesitate to put your questions directly in the Q&A chat box during the presentation. We would also like to give thanks to our sponsor, Simple Group. They will be part of the IFGC International F&B Growth Conference on the 15th of July at Pullman Jakarta Central Park. Before we start our first presentation, we would like to ask you all to participate in the polls. Kindly scan the barcode on your screen. That should be coming up. Okay, so please kindly scan the barcode that is on your screen to join the polls. And while we wait for you guys to join, the question is, what is your buying preference? Is it for healthy ingredients, value for money pricing, or trends? So this is a pretty interesting question, as market trends and value for money pricing as well as healthy ingredients are very important factors in a growing family if they want to purchase F&B products. And we'll be waiting for the poll results. So while we wait for the results, I would like to talk about the upcoming IFGC conference. This is going to be a in-person conference at Pullman Jakarta Central Park. So this will take place on the 15th of July, and it is intertwined very well with our webinar today, as it is also F&B related. So tickets are free. You're able to register online and walk in. And it will be a great, insightful day for those that want to know more about the F&B industry in Indonesia. So if you want more information, you can go to ifgc.asia, or you can click on the link that is in the chat box. Okay, looks like we have the results of our poll. So seems like most people value mostly healthy ingredients as well as value for money as their buying preference, which I think makes a lot of sense. So with this being said, thank you so much for participating in our polls. And I would love to introduce our next speaker, Bayu Isnawan. So at UUC, Pak Bayu is responsible for leading and managing team projects, as well as developing and motivating others to achieve the set business objectives of the organization. Pak Bayu's experience in the F&B industry has allowed him to create valuable links between companies, brands, consumers, shoppers, trade marketers, and operations. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Pak Bayu Isnawan. We are so delighted to have you today, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for checking to Business International for inviting me to be part of the speaker of today's event. So just to make a long story short, I know that the UEC brand, okay, I just make the correction that how to pronounce our brand is UEC actually. And we can start with the slide to Yumna.
Masih enak, vitaminnya banyak, lengkap, anak-anak suka, tubuh jadi sehat.
Rasanya enak, manis, segar.
Dan manis. Enak, menyehatkan, menyegarkan.
Ini juga bagus banget untuk kesehatan pencernaan dan tulang, terutama untuk seusia kita yang memang di usia dari atas 40 tahun.
Dia tuh baik buat pencernaan, terus udah gitu dia kandungannya tuh bisa bikin nambah energi kita jadi makin fit lagi. Bener-bener nih enak banget sumpah.
Rasa leci, aku suka.
Rasanya enak dan juga bagus untuk pencernaan. Ini bisa diminum untuk semua usia loh.
Hati-hati, bakteri jahat ada di mana-mana. Tenang, lindungi dengan Yoisi. Minum Yoisi setiap hari dengan probiotik 3 kali lebih banyak. Lawan bakteri jahat di usus. Lebih nikmat dengan banyak rasa. Yoisi, 3 kali probiotik, 3 kali perlindungan. Yoisi.
Okay, that's about the company video, and this is part of our digital asset to be presented to the audience that we have in the some of our digital media. So I think I will start my presentation, and today is about the sharing session. I'm not saying that what I'm presenting today is the best practice, because I believe that each organization has their own way to define what is the best fit strategy and tactics for the organization. Okay, next slide, please. Next. So actually, UEC is just launched in 2019 in Indonesia, but in the Singapore market, we came earlier, and even we have the awarded super brands in the Singapore, and we are the winner of leading brands award in the 7-Eleven, one of the biggest CVS in Singapore, 2 years in a row, and number one in the Singapore mini market. And then we have the best sales in the Southeast Asia. And if you are talking about the market outside Indonesia, our assortment is bigger. We have more assortment other than what we are selling today in Indonesia. Next. So we have a factory in the Cikarang that is producing all assortment that is ready to serve in Indonesia for Indonesia consumer with the modern and high quality F&B processing. And this is the 60th factory, which is the first production facility located outside of China. So our home base, our headquarters, was in China, and this is the first production facility that we have outside that country. Next book. And this is the current assortment that we have. And our assortment is relatively still a few, and all is about the fermented and drinking yogurt that have like bacteria feature for healthy digestion to support the body defense and immunity. And our products have more variants, size, and convenient packaging to ensure the unmet needs of Indonesian consumer. And we have some new product development in the pipeline and ready to launch in the near future to enrich our nutrition product portfolio. So this is the product that you can find in the market. But of course, the distribution, especially in cities, still limited. But for the modern trade, we start to expand, and we already have some new deal with the big key account customer to listing. Okay, next. Now, it's all about the nutrition and the health consumption. As we know that after the pandemic, the awareness about healthy life is increasing a lot, and more people are looking for more nutritious products to increase their immune system, to support their daily activities. So I'm sure that this trend is the new normal that will be the lifestyle of most of people. And thus, we have a huge opportunity to grab the nutrition business to answer the needs of Indonesian consumers. Next. So this is a few data or chart that we use to define the action plan or the tactics that we want to build to penetrate the market with our new brand in Indonesia. So I will share to you this few data which we used to see on how we look at the market to build our business plan and start the business in this market. And please do not look at the numbers, as some of them are not updated. And you will see that the next slides, the unit value, even in RMB or yuan, not in the USD or Indonesian rupiah, as long because this presentation is presented in front of our headquarters in Beijing at the time. So back to the slide. If we see the Indonesian GDP, Indonesia is still above 5%. It's not as the highest one, but still in the healthy level compared to other countries. And we see that the young population growth is more than 40%, which will be the very potential consumer today and in the near future. And in terms of the dairy consumption, unfortunately, this market, Indonesia, is still very, very low compared to the other market. Okay, so this means that this market still have a very huge opportunity to grow the dairy business in the long run. And of course, this is our job, especially for the dairy industry, to educate the market, the consumer, about the goodness of dairy product in order to increase the consumption, of course. Next. And this data was part of the material to be presented in our management team to convince them that the market is very potential in Indonesia, and we use China market as the benchmark to compare with the 5 key markets in this Southeast Asia. So the combined revenue of these 5 markets are still 1/5 of China's size. So by this, we can project that all those 5 countries are still in the growing or fast-growing stage in Indonesia. Market business potential from 2018 and 2023 is in the level of 6 to 8%. So this is the current situation about the Indonesian dairy business potential. Next. And if we look at into the subcategory data, the total yogurt contributes 13% to total dairy share, and the powder milk has the biggest share, dominating by the growing up milk. And this yogurt, actually, this subcategory has the highest CAGR among others. So I think you will see the detailed data in the next slide. But if you see this chart, actually, you can see the dairy landscape in Indonesia. The sweet condensed milk, we can say that it's not really nutrition product, but still dominating the market by contributing 11%, and the yogurt 13%, the milk and beverage is 25%, and the powder milk is 41%. Next slide, please. And this is overall the Southeast Asia market assessment when we do this. Okay, in terms of the size of price, Indonesia is the highest one. Okay, although the dairy per capita is the lowest one, but still, this is the highest price that will give us the promising business to build more opportunity in Indonesia. So, the thing that must be your concern as the dairy player is about the profitability, because considering that Indonesia population is more in economic and mainstream segment with quite tough competition with the existing players, we must be careful in pricing strategy in terms of the cost management, and last but not least, we need to be more selective in doing our marketing activities as well as the trade activities, considering that the complexity of building the RTM or go-to-market to ensure that our product will be delivered to end consumer within the shortest RTM. Just for your information that our product shelf life relatively short, between 45 days up to 3 months. So can you imagine with this relatively short shelf life, we need to deliver our product with the shorter to market as much as possible. Next. Then this chart is to show that Indonesia compared to Vietnam, to the Malaysia, the finding about the category of drinking yogurt and flavored drinks. Yes, it's smaller category compared to others, but has the higher growth or CAGR compared to the average all markets. And if you see like in the Indonesian chart, you can see the blue bubble. Yogurt drink is smaller, but in terms of the CAGR, the growth rate is the highest one compared to others within the category. Okay, next. Okay, this is interesting data, yeah, I got from the Google, and I think it will be always been updated every time. Talking about the mobile, internet, and the social media use. Next. Talking about the mobile, internet, and social media use, this chart shows the current situation based on the latest data I have, that the number of mobile connection is above population. That means one person can have more than one or maybe two gadgets in hand, but of course not me. Yeah? So the internet users almost 74% versus the Indonesian population. And the active social media user, surprisingly, is almost 62%. Okay? So can you imagine that this is the real thing for every business players in this market who wants to grab the opportunity to build their brand and business, yeah, as everyone has their gadget and they want to do many things from their hand, and it is more convenient. So this also the place for us to address and leverage this channel to do our campaign and practice and activities. I mean, next. Okay. And again, this is from the January 21, talking about the most used social media platform. You can see that we are having many options for social media, and based on this data, the top 3 social media platforms are YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, and continue others. So we can pick and choose which platform we need to use to build our brand and get the engagement with our target audience. And later in the next slide, I will share about what we are doing today and which platform we focus on. Next. Okay. So again, talking about the brand building, as we are, UEC is the relatively new brand in Indonesia. We just launched our product in 2019, and we have all those marketing activity, trade activity to be executed, very massive at that year, and we were part of Indonesian Idol sponsor, the main sponsor. But unfortunately, you know, in the 2020, the big pandemic hit our market, and all the plan was dropped. Yeah. I mean, we cannot do our plan and execute it as our timeline, and we have to cancel many things, we have to delay many things, we have to get back with the new strategy on how to adapt with the new normal. So that year was in positive way. We get back, we sit together with the team to rework all of the strategy that we want to have after the pandemic. So talking about the more specific about the sources of brand discovery in this market, as the new brand that is trying to get the awareness and engagement in the early stage, we in UEC are really considered about the most effective platform to build UEC brand awareness and address our brand purpose as well as to get the conversion from the right target audience. And most of the sources are about digital. And yes, we still see the TV advertising as part of the sources, as I believe that the reach of this TVC, of this channel, still very broad and still be one of the biggest platform to play to build our brand. But again, we need to always consider about how to reach the right target and get the clear measurement on the design KPI. Next. And this is the interesting part when we discuss about our tactics at the time. So we know that now we are living in the branding and in the digital era where we need to adjust the way we build our brand and we have to adapt with the new things, right? So you can see this is about the new way, about the old way, and in the new ways, we talk about the short-term result, short-term brand awareness building, and we are talking about the social media use and then brand purpose, how we can build our tactics, how to own and earn the media, and talking about the big data to be used for the CRM and everything. So again, This is what we are doing today. I'm sharing about what my organization is trying to do to penetrate the market as the newcomer, and I'm not saying that what I'm presenting today is the best practice. Of course not. It really depends on how you see the market, how you see your product and your target audience. Then you can define the best ways to build your brand and the business. Okay, so you can mix between the old and new, or you can use all the new ways of working in doing the branding in digital era. Is up to your belief and in your research, of course, before having the decision to go with certain strategy or tactics. Next. So this is the biggest challenge, yeah, with our assortment, because we have the live bacteria inside, because we are talking about the healthy digestion, how to increase the body defense and immunity. So our product contain live bacteria that of course will impact to the shelf life. Our shelf life is short compared to the ambient or dry products. The shortest is 45 days expired. We have 2 months expiry date, and then we have maximum 3 months expiry date. So can you imagine if we reflect to Indonesian route to market with this short shelf life? It's impossible to do the conventional business or conventional route to market, because we are not sure that our product will be delivered in the good quality within the before the expiry date. So the biggest challenge is about the short shelf life and the low temperature storage and the transport. Next. So this is our practice, as I presented before, about the branding in the digital era. So the digital marketing and e-commerce are our preferable channel to build UAC brand in the early stage. Why digital marketing and e-commerce? Of course, I think most of you understand that if we use this channel, it will be more personal, focused on the right audience and interactive, reasonable marketing costs and short-term go-to-market, and then we will have the efficient order and the logistic costs. While if we use the conventional marketing and RTM, because this is related to our product characteristic, yes, the conventional media will give us the wider audience, but not that specific to the right target audience, and of course not interactive. If you see the TV ads, it's like just one way and you can do anything with them. Okay, and then for us as the newcomer, it will be relatively expensive if you use the FTL or PVC, and high cost of the doing business, especially for the new NPD or the new grade to use this. That's the situation in my organization at the time, because you know, during the pandemic, of course, all the bottom line profitability margin is like ruined. But of course, we have to go and we have to find the right strategy on how to grow and wake up again. So next. So we need more convenient and interactive way to attract our target audience shopper while building cost-conscious culture for our business, of course. So only three principles: sell faster, earn more, enabling customer self-service, and then transparent communication and transaction. So all of these will be available if we use the digital media or platform. So this is the principle that we use starting 2020, end of the 2020, we started to do the things that really impact to our brand awareness at the time. Next. As I mentioned before, that actually route to market in Indonesia is complex, especially if we are talking about the general trade. Based on the Nielsen data, our total universe of retail outlet is more than 3.5 million. That's the universe. And you know, Indonesia has more than 15,000 islands. And of course, the delivery, the transportation will be part of our cost, and we have to take it into account in the calculation. Okay, so we don't do this massively in the first stage because we prefer to prioritize the channel and area along with the brand development, because we have the experience when we start this in 2019 with this massive distribution in certain area, while the brand awareness is still very low, even maybe zero, then the market return is big. We have to manage all the market return. So be careful with this road to market model. Okay, so we stopped this practice at the time, and unfortunately we have the pandemic in 2020, so we stopped all this practice at the time. And because if you see in the left side, I mentioned this advantage of having this model is about long supply chain, slow expansion, high LCOBD, high market return risk, and then payment issue from the distributor or outlets, and high dependency on the sales force role. So this is the conventional business model. I'm not saying this is bad practice, no, because I'm still doing this, but I combine with others. So next slide, please. So this is what we are doing here. We focus more on the direct selling. We focus more on online shopping. We do the branding and selling together through the digital platform. We use TikTok, Shopee, Tokopedia, whatever. And we have our official stores, and we focus the branding more in the TikTok platform, because in this platform it's not only branding but as well as selling, because TikTok has the TikTok shop starting last year, and we did a very massive activity in the last December, and especially during the Harbolnas or the online shopping day, 12/12 at the time. So this is the mixed business model. This is the mixed RTA model that we apply today. And of course, in terms of the conventional RTM, we really have the selective area to distribute our product. Of course, Java is number one, Java, Bali, and South Sumatra. So that's our priority area. Okay, by having this mixed business model, we have the advantage of the cost reduction, safer transaction, and then faster transaction as well. So I want to share to you the result of our 12/12. The next slide. Next slide, please. So if you see this, this is one of our campaign in the 12/12 last year. We started with TikTok shop, and the result was very good, as this was the first massive digital campaign we had, and we got impression, we got awareness, and we got sales. And surprisingly, even though we are the newcomer, the impression, we generate impression, huge impression, in my opinion. And this is only within 10 days. Yeah, we achieved to sell more than 250,000 bottles, and we have more than 25,000 consumers order. And the good news is that we are number 2 as the top 2 biggest FMCG product being sold during this event. So by having this, we believe that this platform can help us to build the brand, to earn the media, because we use many micro KOL. Then they make a lot of video and they sell our product directly and many things. And I think this platform is fit for us because we can do the direct selling through this platform as well. Next, please. Okay, and this is the last review that I have with marketing and TikTok. This is the review, the period from December to May. If you see that by doing this activity with this platform, the impression was very impressive. I mean, getting the impression more than 9 billion impression means that it's a huge result to build our brand awareness through this platform. It means that the repetition of people to see our video or advertising is more than 5 times maybe. And we continue to do these activities to this platform, and in terms of the Google search, even picking, okay, and the repeat order from the loyal consumer in the same platform. And the most important thing is that the halo effect is cascading down to other channels. Our brand is being noticed by the target audience as well as the great customer. And by the way, I'm not TikTok representative, yeah. I'm just sharing about the current practice with UEC. So again, I'm not representing TikTok at all. So, but I think this is something that I need to share to all of you, that actually this KPI achieved, even we earn more than 36,000 video. We have more than 160,000 live streaming and very huge impression. So this is something that really make us happy. And last week we did some home immersion, randomly check to the ABCD class segmentation, and we are happy because most of them notice that UEC is in the market. They see, they know and they see our product, our brand from this platform as well. Okay, next. Aside from the digital things, of course, as I mentioned before, we have the direct selling activity, right? So you see this picture. This is our Sri Kandi or lady UEC. We appoint the distributor or agent, and then this Sri Kandi or this lady is the freelance. We do not give them any salary. We just give the commission and incentive. So by having this direct selling, actually provide many benefits for us, from direct distribution to consumer by increasing the brand awareness in the community. It's more than the local activity execution, and indirectly Sri Kandi can cover storytelling in the distributor area as well. And this also gives the positive value to the community by giving them opportunity to get more income for their family. So I think we need to give the value in developing our brand. So this is overall my short story or short sharing about how we penetrate the market with our new brand. And of course, within 40 minutes will not be enough to talk many things, but I think during the Q&A we can continue some discussion. So thank you, Yumna, and take it back to you.
Thank you so much, Pak Bayu, for your insightful presentation and for joining us this morning. So just to have a brief summary of Pak Bayu's presentation, it is quite clear that UEC has positioned itself as Singapore's leading brands. And so expanding to Indonesia is a very obvious and great next step to gaining the trust of the Southeast Asian market. Indonesia is also considered one of the fastest growing markets in Asia. And so with the younger health conscious groups of people that has become a priority market, UEC has definitely tapped into. And so thank you so much, Pak Bayu, again. Now, for anyone that wants to ask Pak Bayu any questions, please feel free to write them down in the Q&A chat box. And please do not forget that anyone who asks a question will have the opportunity to win one of our door prizes. So before we move to our next presentation, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we do here at Chekindo. So Chekindo is an Indonesian-born consulting firm that can help with a variety of market entry services. So let's watch a video so you guys can know a little bit more about Chekindo.
We established Chekindo Business Group as market entry consulting firm back in 2012 with only 4 employees. And in 2016, we opened our first Chekindo Business Center at Grand City Tower. We doubled our workforce to 80 and moved our head office to Business Park in Kebonjeruk and opened our first branch in town. We relocated our main office in AXA Tower in Kuningan in Jakarta in 2020 and now operating with over 150 employees.
The opening of our Vietnam branch, together with strong presence in the Indonesian market, helped us set our regional footprint, as it was the catalyst to our acquisition by Incorp Group Global Singapore, leading to the establishment of Chekindo Business International.
We strive to be a leading consulting firm of business services for clients, expanding to and operating in Indonesia.
Our set of company values, client orientation, excellence, knowledge, integrity, normative operation standards, delivery on time, and one-stop services, as well as our full range of services, are what I identify as our greatest assets.
When setting up a business or expanding your business into Indonesia, it is important to have someone experienced with the process. Our consultants assist investors and entrepreneurs with tailor-made solutions to the complexity of Indonesian business.
Legal compliance can make or break your business, so it is a highly significant aspect of business operations to have a legal team that is up to date with Indonesian regulations. When it comes to our standards, we always aim to meet national and international legal standards and ensure compliance changes are made in a timely manner.
Any business knows the importance of submitting financial statements and reports to the appropriate institutions and the strict deadline for submission. At Chekindo, we use the latest accounting software and keep clients' financial data secure to assess the best strategies and solutions.
With our wide range of services and experienced team,
We are confident that Chekindo can provide you with high quality of business solutions.
through our constant growth and pool of talent,
We hope to continue making our mark in Indonesia's economy and foreign investment.
We will ensure that your expansion in Indonesia will be as seamless as it can be.
streamline your first steps into Indonesia
With Chekindo Business International.
All right, so now that you know a little bit more about Chekindo, let's start another poll before we move on to our next speaker. So as usual, please scan the barcode so that you can participate in this poll. So this question that we're asking you today is, what are the challenges to running an F&B business over the COVID-19 pandemic? So there are three options that you can choose from. The first is the lack of online innovations. The next is the minimum resource and insights for brand innovations. And the third is customer retention decreasing. With the COVID-19 pandemic, it's definitely been a hard time for F&B businesses. Whether it be for the offline activations, which is obviously the norm of how many different initiatives for selling or marketing of products are done. So it's quite interesting to see how the F&B industry has developed over the last 2 years. I think the new innovations that have been made in the F&B industry that maybe wouldn't have existed 3 years ago are now the norm. So it's quite great to see how we can adapt to these new situations, considering the circumstances. So we will wait a little bit longer for you guys to join the poll, and we will see the results very shortly. Okay, so it looks like the results are in. Seeing from these results, it seems that one of the biggest challenges is lack of offline activations. I think that makes a lot of sense considering how the industry was performing a lot of their initiatives, as I said before. So let's move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Ibu Dina, and she is a senior business consultant at Chekindo. Having been in the industry for 4 years, she is an expert in business consultation and management, and at Chekindo, she is responsible for client engagement and management. Her experience as a sales executive, as well as in the management and service delivery field, Ibu Dina has gained a lot of knowledge of satisfactory service delivery, as well as complaint handling and solutions. She is also very well versed in A to Z business and finance consultancy and the product registration process. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Ibu Dina, and Ibu Dina, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Yumna, for the introduction. I would like to first and foremost thank you all the audiences for attending this webinar. It is such a pleasure to be speaking with you today about food and beverage industry in Indonesia, and it's an honor to be a speaker alongside Pak Bayu Isnawan from Yoyik Dairy Indonesia. As introduced previously by Yumna, I am Dina. I'm senior business consultant at Chekindo. At Chekindo, we have assisted our clients with their business expansion in Indonesia and also in other parts of Southeast Asia, and including also registering their products in Indonesia and other countries in Southeast Asia. The topic today I'm going to be covering is about food and beverage registration in Indonesia. Next slide, please. Yeah, so in accordance to food and beverage registration in Indonesia, firstly, I think we would need to understand the definition of what food is. Now, based on the BPOM regulation number 27, 2017, about processed food registration, the definition of food is anything that comes from biological products source of agriculture, plantation, forestry, fisheries, animal husbandry, and waters, both processed and unprocessed, which are designated as food or beverage for human consumption, including food additives, food raw materials, and other materials used in the preparation process, or processing and or manufacture of food or beverage. Now, the definition of food that is processed is food or beverage processed in a certain way or method with or without additives. Next slide. All right, now without further ado, let's go to the process of food and beverage registration in Indonesia. Now, what kind of food and beverage that needs to be registered at BPOM or the Indonesian FDA? These are the local and import products for trading in retail packaging, fortification product, SNI mandatory product. SNI is the Indonesian national standard, and then government program food, market test product, and additives. And on the other side, it's the kind of food and beverage that doesn't need to be registered at BPOM. The first is the produced by home industries, the products that have shelf life less than 7 days, imported in small quantities for the purpose of registration sample, research, or self-consumption. Also further used as raw materials and not sold directly to end customers. Packaged in bulk and not sold directly to end customers, sold and packaged directly in front of buyers in small quantities according to consumer demand, ready-to-eat food, food that only undergoes minimal processing or post-harvest, includes washing, stripping, drying, milling, cutting, salting, freezing, mixing, and or blanch and without additives, except additives for wax. Next slide. Now, when do processed food should be registered separately to BPOM? Now, this happens, there are differences in the terms of the type of food, the type of packaging, the composition, the name and or address of the production facilities, the name and or address of the importer or distributor, and the label design. Next slide. All right, now on this slide, we can see how to start the processed food registration through BPOM in Indonesia. You can see here the processed food safety management system first of the office and the warehouse, which is located in Indonesia. That would take around more or less 1 month. And then it will be followed by the account activation at BPOM. And it will take around 14 working days. And then the next is manufacturer registration, which would take around 14 working days. And the last process is the food registration itself, which will take around 4 to 6 months, depends on the time, on the type, and also the satisfactory of the documents to BPOM. Next slide. All right, as you can see here, this is the very first process to register your products in Indonesia for food and beverage, is the processed food safety management system. Now, what is the definition of this? This means a system designed and developed to ensure processed food safety and quality through supervision risk-based independently along the chain food circulation. Now, previously, we had to send the documents via email to BPOM, and now we just need to upload the documents into the system. Thus makes it easier and shorten the timeline. The purpose is, of course, to ensure the food safety and quality process in the means of circulation, as well as to protect the community from processed foods that are at risk of health. Now, there are documents that need to be prepared on this food safety management system. For example, the company documents like the NID, the company tax ID, the ID card of the director, and then to prepare the incoming area, the storage area, quarantine area, outgoing area, etc. Also, the company would need to prepare the SOP of the employee hygiene, storage, distribution, complaint handling, and etc. Also, preparing the warehouse equipment, internal audit system, and also other several requirements from BPOM. Next slide. All right, the second part is the account activation. So before registering your products at BPOM, you need to have an account activated. One company is only allowed to have one account, and you would also need to prepare the documents of the company, which the company would already have. They already have an entity in Indonesia, and also the previous processed food safety management system certificate. Next slide. The third step is the manufacturer registration, and there are documents to be prepared. The first is the letter of authorization. This is issued by the manufacturer or the brand owner to the importer or the product license holder in Indonesia. And then it needs to mention the right of the importer to do the registration, importation, and the distribution of the products that will be registered in Indonesia, and whether it's exclusive distributor or non-exclusive. And the minimum validity is 3 years, and it requires to be legalized by Indonesian embassy at the origin country. The second is free sale certificate or health certificate that is issued by authorized institution. And also the certificate would need to have at least remaining validity period of 6 months before it expires. And the third one is the GMP for food, or ISO 22020. Sorry for the correction there. And certificate from of the manufacturer. This would be issued by authorized or accredited institution or inspection report from government institution. And it also requires the remaining validity period of at least 6 months before it expires. Next slide. All right, so the last bit is the processed food registration, which is the longest one to take. Here, the documents that need to be prepared is, first is the letter of authorization mentioned in the previous slide, and also the free sale certificate, the GMP certificate, and then we need to review the product composition prior to registering them to BPOM. The specification of each raw material, making sure that they are recognized by BPOM Indonesia, the certificate of analysis of the finished product, the packaging design, and other quality and technical documents required by BPOM. The most important thing is to make sure that all the documents, equipments, and your storage are satisfactory to BPOM's requirements, to make sure that there is no delay in the process or there is no rejection from BPOM. Now, the validity of BPOM license, particularly for food and beverage, is 5 years, and renewal can only be done the fastest 1 year, or no later than 10 days before the expiration date. Next slide, please. Now, the last but not least, one of the most important things to prepare prior the registration is the labeling of the product. Now, based on BPOM regulation number 27 year 2021, the general information on labeling is as shown on the slide. It's the name of the product, the composition to be written from the biggest to the smallest concentration, the size or the net weight of the product, name and address of the manufacturer, name and full address of the importer, the manufacturing date, the expiration date, BPOM number, the origin of certain material, the serving instruction, the storage condition, nutrition fact, and other specific information according to the product type. So these are all the most or the important things to consider when registering your food and beverage products in Indonesia. Of course, if you need assistance, Chekindo has been assisting our clients in registering food and beverage products, particularly to BPOM with a lot of our clients, as you can check on our website as well. So that ends my presentation today, and I hope it gives more clarity on how to register your food and beverage products in Indonesia. We would be more than happy to assist you with your food and beverage registration in Indonesia, as we have with many of our satisfied clients. And please feel free to send us an inquiry. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Louise, for your insightful presentation. We now know from Ibu Dina's presentation that retail food and beverage products must be registered to BPOM for public safety. And although the registration process is quite long and may offer many challenges, it is imperative that business owners comply with the requirements to ensure that their products can be marketed in Indonesia. And as Ibu Dina has also said, Chekindo is quite experienced as a service provider for product registration, especially for food and beverage. So please do not hesitate to contact our consultants or even Ibu Dina specifically to expedite your market entry process in Indonesia. So now with all the presentations done, it is now time to open up our Q&A session. So I can see here that we actually have some inquiries regarding our presentation. So let's start with this question from Pak Dimas Lehama. So he says, I think this is maybe directed to Pak Bayu or Ibu Dina. If you also want to answer, go ahead. He asks, I want to answer on how to approach the customer segment. Currently, I am running a small business that sells traditional food, and this product is more appealing to an older segment. My worries is that if these segments are digitally illiterate, how should I approach them more efficiently? So, Bayu, maybe if you would like to answer this question.
Okay, interesting question. Yeah. First, you have to understand that I'm not the category petrol expert, but in terms of the marketing strategy, I think the bottom line or the fundamental is same. Yeah. Actually, don't feel that your product is traditional or something like old school or something like that. Yeah. My suggestion, okay, this is just to share my opinion about the category of pecel. Okay, this traditional food is something that actually, in my age, I love pecel because I'm Japanese, right? First, maybe you have to build the good packaging. You have to build to have the attractive packaging that can attract your target or consumer audience to see or to try. Okay, packaging is very important for us as the producer, and this is something that very fundamental. If you can have the differentiation or build the differentiation between your product with others, I think that will be part of how we attract consumer to try. The second, in this digital media, actually, if you go to like Facebook is one of the senior social media platform that has a lot of our huge database on the consumer, you can pick and choose which segment. You can choose mothers, the age, the segment, the location, and everything. Then you can start to make the content. Although it's only one media or platform, you can choose another media like Instagram or TikTok, for example. But if talking about the digital campaign, you have to think about how to create the very good content to attract your target audience, to open, to try to have the conversion from just looking at the brand and trying to order. So I'm not so sure whether my suggestion is fit with you, but actually I believe that all product, whether it is healthy product, traditional product, or whatever, I'm sure that we can marketing this depends on how we create the content to attract, right? And maybe you can start with the community. You can think about how to sell through the B2B or the B2C, and then you can just start from the small area then before expansion. So I think that's my suggestion on how you marketing your virtual product.
All right, thank you, Pak Bayu. I hope that answered your question, Pak Radimas. So actually, Pak Bayu, we have another question for you from Alyssa. She asks, UUC is targeting the younger generation who are very attached to technology and very adaptive to changes and new things. What are the biggest challenges that UUC faces in dealing with these target market characters?
So if you follow my presentation before, actually I show you the data of the social media user, okay, the internet user, the population in Indonesia. The social media user is like more than 61%, almost 62% of the population. It's a huge, and I believe that the user is the younger generation. So this is the target that we really want to hit, yeah. By promoting our product to the right media or platform, I'm sure that we can get the design KPI. Like for example, if I show you when we use TikTok platform, you can see the impression is huge. It's more than 9 billion impression. It means what? Okay, our population is 280 million, but the impression that we reach through this platform is more than 9 billion. It means what? It means that one target audience exposed by more than 5 or 6 times about our advertising, and we can see the conversion directly. So that's why we choose this platform, because we do not only get the impression as well as we get the conversion directly. Even in this platform, there is a TikTok shop where the consumer or the new user can do the transaction. So this is something that we really do massively. We really put our effort, our investment on this platform, and we can see that actually the result is make us happy in terms of getting huge impression, and it is cascading down to other channel, where now when we do the home immersion, we found that most of them notice that UUC brand is in the market, and most of them has tried, because using this digital platform, we can create many marketing activities, and together with the sales activities, we can give a special discount for the first purchase, and then we can create the loyalty scheme, something like that. So I think the challenge that we face, yes, you are right, because we are targeting the young, but fortunately, I'm happy that actually the digital era can ease or can make our life easier actually in terms of delivering the brand purpose, delivering the brand feature and the benefit, and with supported by the logistic provider, we can sell our product everywhere, not only in Jakarta or Java. Even if we look at the historical of order, actually the order is coming from outside Java as well. So that's the answer from me to Bu Alisa.
All right. Thank you for answering that question, Pabayu, and also thank you, Alyssa, for answering this question, for asking this question, sorry. So we have another question from Justin. This is directed towards Pabayu and Ibu Dina. So the question is, what are the key impacts of COVID-19 on the food and beverage sector in Indonesia in terms of product registration and importation? Are the government providing incentives to tackle these? Maybe Ibu Dina, you can start to answer this question.
Thank you, Yumna. Okay, so it's actually an interesting question, Justin, but from our experience since the pandemic up to date, there are no key impacts of COVID-19 to the food and beverage registration in Indonesia in terms of importing as well. So basically all the procedures are still the same. And so far, we don't see that the government providing any incentives on the pandemic. I think it's safe to say that before pandemic and post and during pandemic, it's all still the same process. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. So Bye-bye, would you like to maybe add on to that answer? Or?
Yeah. So I think because of this pandemic, actually the lifestyle is changing. Yeah. So the healthy lifestyle is part of your daily life today, especially for the young and even the elder. So this is the opportunity for all the food and beverages player to bring this healthy issue to be part of the feature and the benefit, and give the brand purpose that our product can support their immunity, can support their body defense from the disease. So I think this is the good thing about the pandemic.
All right, thank you so much for your answer, Bayu. We do have a few more questions. So the next question is from Andre. I guess he has 4 questions for Ibu Dina. So the first one is, what is the criteria of the warehouse? 2 is, do we need to hire a certified nutritionist under our PT? 3 is, point B, documents need to be prepared. Is that also for the warehouse, or does it need to be prepared elsewhere? And number 4 is, if we appoint third parties to produce the product, do they need to register for BPOM? So this is quite a long question. Ibu Dina, please go ahead and answer.
Great. Thank you, Yumna. So I'm going to answer one by one. So the first, thank you for the question, Andre. So the first question is, what is the criteria of the warehouse? Okay, so there are several requirements for the warehouse, including the criteria of the building itself. I'll explain just a little bit. The warehouse size would need to match the quantity of the products that you are going to be imported, and also you would need to have a storage area, receiving area, quarantine area, and also the area where your distributor can take it from your warehouse. There are other requirements as well. We can provide this to you when you engage with Chikindo. I would strongly suggest that you put an inquiry to us. And then on to the next question, do we need to hire a certified nutritionist under our PT? No, you don't need to hire certified nutritionist for food and beverage product registration in Indonesia. And then the third one is point B, documents that need to be prepared. Yes, it is on the warehouse. Basically, for the documents mentioned on point B is of the warehouse itself. And then the fourth one, if we appoint third parties to produce our product, do they need to register BPOM? Yes. So basically, every product in Indonesia that is required to register at BPOM, they have to be registered at BPOM whether they are imported or produced locally in Indonesia. I hope that satisfies the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Budina. I think that was a very good answer to that question. I hope you agree, Andre. So the next question is from Rushana, and she says to Falbayu, congratulations on the successful launch of YoYoC. Very inspiring. I think it's quite inspiring as well. So she asks, aside from the massive campaign and communication, what do you think should be the winning strategy for a new F&B brand to succeed in the long run?
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So I have shared a slide talking about the brand purpose actually. Okay. We are not talking about the product and service at the moment because product and service can change at any time. But if you are talking about the brand purpose, actually, this is the long commitment of the brand to serve to the consumer with the good quality of product. We commit to them that we will have we will deliver their needs. And especially after the pandemic, this is talking about the healthy lifestyle. We have the commitment that if you consume our product, you will have the stronger immunity, you have a better body defense. So, you know, our product is not only the functionality. We are not talking about the functionality, about the live bacteria, but as well as this can be your refreshment. Our product is the trend because talking about the fermented milk, about the yogurt is actually, this is smaller category than others, especially compared to the milk powder or the other milk RTD drink. But actually, if you see the growth of this category is the highest one. The CAGR within 5 years, next 5 years, still promising double digit, even more than 15%. So that's my answer. We are talking about the brand purpose to keep the long commitment from the brand to develop the consumer needs.
All right. Thank you so much, Falbayu. So we have another question here for Ibu Dina from Calvin. So he says, can I check with Ibu Dina? My company is located in Singapore, and if we would like to register our halal retail product, is the procedure to apply for ML number still the same? Normally, how long does it take for BPOM to approve an imported processed food?
Thank you, Yumna. Thank you for the question, Calvin. So for your register your halal retail product, the procedure to apply for imported products or makanan luar negeri is basically still the same. So every product that will be sold in Indonesia needs to be registered at BPOM first. While halal is at the moment not mandatory yet, there's been an announcement that it will be mandatory later on, but it will be by stages. So for now, it's not mandatory yet, but BPOM registration is mandatory for food and beverage products. And normally the process for BPOM to approve an imported processed food is around 4 to 6 months, starting from the documents submitted to BPOM. Normally it will take less or more depending on the documents that you provided to BPOM. So as long as it satisfies the BPOM requirements, then the process could be short as 4 months or 6 months. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Calvin, for the question. So, Budina, we have one more question for you, and this is from Tamara Nadia. She asks a couple questions. So the first question is, for the food registration, should food registration be done for the category of SKU? Number 2, can you explain about the circulation licensing and When will it be granted by BPOM? And number 3, what is the current challenge for registering imported?
Thank you, Yumna. Thank you, Tamara, for your questions. To answer to that, for the food registration, it is registered per category of SKU. But for example, if they are bottle and or can, they are categorized as different category. Best of this is if you engage with us, put an inquiry to us, we would be able to help you in reviewing the products, like which categories they fall under and how many categories they will be. And then for the circulation licensing or aging edar, it will be granted by BPOM once the documents are already completely submitted and approved by BPOM. So as long as the documents are satisfying the BPOM's requirements, then it should be okay. With the current challenges for registering imported food at the moment, is usually based from our experiences is the documents required, whether it's from the warehouse or the importer or the manufacturer itself. So if all the documents are completed, then the process should run smoothly. But even so, if there are documents that are not completed or not to the satisfaction of the BPOM, they would inform us of these, and they would normally give a timeline for the company to be able to provide the correct or the completed documents. Hope this answers the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Budina. I think we do have one more question, but I will wait for the question to appear on the slide. Oh, here we are. So we have 2 more questions actually. So one more question for Ibu Dina from ALO Consulting. They ask, is the product registration distinguished by category or SKU?
All right, thank you, Yumna. So product registration is distinguished by the product category. It could be one product category, one SKU. So like I mentioned, it might need further review on this. So it'd be best if we know first what the products are, like the brochures, the HS code, in order for us to categorize whether it's one category or one, for example, like 2 SKUs under one category or vice versa. Yeah. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Budina, for answering the question. We have one more question for Pak Bayu from our CEO, Pak Pitvan. So Pak Pitvan asks, does YoYC use influencer or KOL management on their marketing strategy? And if yes, what is the result and what benefit was gained from the influencer?
Okay, actually, Pak Fitman is not allowed to ask question to me, ya, Pak. So, good question, Pak. So, I did not share in detail what happened or what we are doing with TikTok, but yes, we use influencer management. Yes, we use a lot of micro KOL. Okay, the first stage, we use the macro, the expensive KOL, of course, to attract. And after that, we just use the micro KOL, but a lot. If you see that the video created by them, this is not video created by us, by them. We earn the media. We create the content. They create the video. This KOL have the live video almost every day, every night. They are promoting our product. They are selling our product without stocking, because this is the good thing about the TikTok shop, because the influencer, the KOL, they do not need to stock the product, because the TikTok already prepared the link